Today, we're diving into a really powerful metaphor, one that completely reframes how we think about artificial intelligence. The idea is this: AI is the new bison. Now let's get into it, because this isn't just about code and computers. It's a bold vision for rebuilding sovereignty, sparking prosperity, and reclaiming a way of life.
To really understand where we're going, we first have to look back. For thousands of years, the bison, or Tatanka to the Lakota, it was everything. It wasn't just a source of food. Its hide gave shelter, its hair became technology, its bones were shaped into tools. It was the absolute core of their economic, physical, and spiritual world. So when the bison were systematically destroyed, it wasn't just some ecological tragedy. It was a calculated move to shatter the very foundation of indigenous nations.
Then, in the last century, a new idea took hold. Education is the new buffalo. And this was really a survival strategy. It was reactive, about learning the colonizer system just to get by in a world that had been turned upside down. But what we're seeing now is a huge shift. This new metaphor, AI is the new bison, is something else entirely. It's not about surviving in somebody else's world. It's about proactively building a brand new one on your own terms, with indigenous values at its core. That's the key here, the jump from simply reacting to actively creating.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to unpack what AI is the new bison really means. Then, we'll get into why data is now being called the new land. We'll look at the incredible economic opportunity here, see how code can literally be used for healing, and then we'll look to the future, to a vision of 2050, where that digital herd has come roaring back.
All right, let's jump into Section 1, AI is the new bison. We're going to explore how the role once filled by those massive, physical herds is now being taken up by this invisible, powerful world of digital clouds, algorithms, and data.
What is so cool is that indigenous languages themselves kind of give us a blueprint for this. For the Blackfoot, their word ini points to the bison's role in the ecosystem. The parallel today, restoring control over their data herds. For the Lakota, Tatanka is all about provision and sacrifice. Well, AI can be seen as a tool of almost endless service. And get this, the Dene have a specific term for the wood bison, which reminds us that we don't need a one-size-fits-all AI. We need specialized, local models that fit the unique needs of each community.
Okay, so let's build on that. If AI is the new provider, the new bison, then data is the new territory it roams. The fight for land, for sovereignty over physical ground, has now expanded into this vast digital frontier. And this brings us to a concept that is absolutely central to all of this: data sovereignty. And look, this is about way more than just privacy. It's the fundamental right, the supreme authority of indigenous nations to govern their own information. Who owns it, who controls it, who gets to benefit from it. It is, simply put, digital self-determination.
But that raises a massive question, right? What good is claiming sovereignty over your data if that data, your nation's most precious asset, is sitting on a server farm in another country, owned by some tech giant with totally different priorities? The idea is one thing, but having actual physical control, that's the real game. And boom, here is the answer in concrete and steel. The Mitha Oski Data Center. This is data sovereignty made real. It's a massive 650 megawatt facility, and it's majority owned by the Woodland Cree First Nation. Think about that. They're not just users of tech anymore. They're becoming the landlords of the digital world, selling compute power and making sure that any data on their land is governed by their laws. It is a literal physical shield against what some are calling digital colonialism. Okay, so once you have that foundation of sovereign infrastructure, you unlock some incredible potential. So in our third section, let's talk about the money, the $100 billion digital economy, and the rise of a new kind of warrior, the digital Jedi.
Now this number, $100 billion, it's not just a dream. It's the actual target for the indigenous economy in Canada, based on the Indigenomics framework. This represents a seismic shift away from an economy of what's been called managed poverty under old colonial systems to one of real, self-directed power and growth. And AI is seen as the engine that can help make that huge leap.
And the fuel for this economic engine? It's demographics. Right now, Indigenous peoples make up only about 2% of Canada's tech workforce. But, and this is huge, Indigenous youth are the fastest growing demographic group in the entire country. So that gap isn't a problem, it's a massive untapped reservoir of talent. Training this generation for the tech world isn't just a good idea, it's an absolute necessity. So how do you inspire this new generation? Believe it or not, through a cultural bridge that just works. Star Wars. The Force is easily understood through Wakotuan, the Greek principle of kinship, of how everything is connected. The Jedi? They're seen as guardians, as protectors. And computer code? Well, that's the modern lightsaber, a powerful tool you use to defend your sovereignty in this new digital age.
And you know what? This is already happening. A new vanguard is being trained right now. You've got Indigenous pathfinders in AI, building truly world-class machine learning talent. NPower Canada has a program that combines hardcore IT skills with ceremony and guidance from elders. They call it a dual operating system. And then there's the Center for Indigenous Innovation and Technology, which is all about solving problems with tech, but from a uniquely Indigenous point of view. So let's talk about where the rubber meets the road. Section 4 is all about how this sovereign code can be used for justice, for healing, and for taking care of the land. This is where the bison's power to provide really comes to life in the 21st century.
Okay, take this concept of smart forgiveness. A minor criminal record, even for something that's not even illegal anymore, can act like a digital shackle, locking people out of jobs, housing, you name it. Now, instead of a super complicated and expensive pardon process, what if an AI algorithm could just automatically find and seal those old minor records? It's using AI as a tool for mass amnesty, basically, giving people a real second chance.
And this isn't just a theory. It's happening all over the globe. Look at Kakadu in Australia. Indigenous rangers there are using AI-powered drones to spot invasive grasses from the air. This let them target their efforts so precisely that they helped bring the population of the magpie geese, a hugely important cultural species, from just 50 birds back up to over 1,800 in one area. Incredible.
Or head up to the Arctic. A project called Polarctic is taking traditional Inuit knowledge about sea ice and blending it with modern satellite data. An AI model then crunches it all to predict new places where scallops and kelp might thrive, creating a living map for sustainable harvesting and protecting food sovereignty in a rapidly changing climate.
And down in the Amazon, Project Guacamaya is using AI to listen to the rainforest. Seriously. The models are trained to tell the difference between the call of a jaguar and the rumble of an illegal logger's truck or a poacher's engine. It's a real-time alarm system to help protect the land and the people defending it. So, let's wrap all of this up in our final section, Vision 2050. This is where the herd returns, but this time it's a digital herd, and it's guided by a completely different set of rules, an ethical framework called the 7 Generations Algorithm. So what the heck is the 7 Generations Algorithm? Well, think about most AI today. It's optimized for short-term goals, right? More clicks, higher quarterly profits. This flips that script completely. It's an ethical model that tells the AI to optimize for long-term well-being. We're talking about things like water purity, soil health, and the survival of a language, measured not in quarters but over generations. It completely redefines what success even means.
What does a world running on that kind of logic look like in 2050? Picture this, a Cree elder addressing the United Nations, with an AI providing flawless, real-time translation for the whole world. Imagine Indigenous nations as net exporters of clean energy and computing power, funding their own schools and hospitals. Imagine a council using a digital twin of their lands to see the impact a decision might have on the water table 100 years from now. That's the vision.
And really, the most crucial point to end on is this one. This vision isn't about rejecting the modern world or trying to turn back the clock. It's about fulfilling old prophecies by taking the spirit, the wisdom, and the values of the past and embedding them into the very heart of our technological future.
So I'll just leave you with this final, really important question. The 7 Generations Principle asks us to think about our impact on a future we'll never live to see. In a world where everything we do creates data, what story will that data tell about us 150 years from now? What legacy are we coding into the system right here, today?